is going to be my first real review of something new, and for such a special occasion, I've brought along a very special friend in Mr. Patrick Bates. So say hello, Patrick.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for coming along.
No
so what we're going to do is review the first 2 episodes of the new Disney Plus show, Obi Wan Kenobi. Every episode from here on out actually comes out on a Wednesday, starting this Wednesday. So I know that works well for you because you're going away for work for a couple of weeks on Thursday. So
yeah,
that'll be a nice way to kick it off. But let's kick off our review by just talking about the opening of the first episode. And I loved this. I didn't realize it would start with the onset of Order 66, really, but that first tracking shot going into the hallways, and you knew obviously the this Jedi character teaching the the younglings the ways of the Force, that they were going to get killed eventually, but it was just really great seeing her fight off her attackers, and also just the scope of it. Once they got out of the hallway into sort of the bigger stadium kind of area, then you just saw everything.
The Jedi Temple
happening in the background. That's it. And it, big stadium of the Jedi Temple. It really reminded me of the best parts of the prequel trilogy, where the screen was just completely filled with activity, and like you could look at any square millimeter of the screen and something would be happening. It was just a really great way to put you back into this world. And I assume that one of those kids would is going to come back later in the series, because it seems like a pretty random thing to just have at the start of the first episode and not revisit in some way. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean whether one of those kids was maybe the Jedi that was seeking help from Obi-Wan. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that the spoilers, I think we are talking about the episode that died, was hunted by the Inquisitors. That may well have been sort of one of those kids, or meant to represent one of them, like sort of in originally episode 3. Sort of it's really just Yoda and Obi-Wan who you sort of see escape, and it's sort of implied that others may escape. But I think this is maybe just to remind the audience to there's maybe a bit more out there than we think.
Yeah, well, certainly at least one more Jedi escaped, and we see him hiding out in that saloon in it was actually on Tatooine. I thought in the dialogue that they mentioned it was a separate planet, and he sort of escaped them and then flew his ship to go and see Obi-Wan on Tatooine, but apparently it was on Tatooine.
Yeah, I thought it was all Tatooine.
All right. So after that opening scene, the next major character that we meet is Rupert Friend playing the Grand Inquisitor, and he was so creepy. I loved him. He just had this like still menace about him. I thought he was great.
Yeah, I think sort of, definitely great. I think most of the acting, I say most, has been pretty good. But I like I said, I hadn't done a lot of research going into Obi-Wan, but I had sort of murmurs that sort of, it's the Grand Inquisitor. It was sort of a much beloved character who was so
he's appeared in Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars, and he was portrayed by Jason Isaacs, who was Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter films, and
nice.
A villainous Englishman, like random Englishman in The Patriot, who killed Heath Ledger. Damn him. But I thought that he was really good, and he actually reminded me a little bit of Jason Isaacs in that sort of the sharpness of his tongue, but remaining really still. I think that's something that Isaacs did really well in the Harry Potter films in particular. But I thought it was really, really good. Actually disappointed that he was killed off so early in the series, but that just upped the stakes for how much of a threat Reva Savanda was, played by Moses Ingram, who was in The Queen's Gambit apparently last year.
Yes, I think that makes sense.
by the way.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned the acting. I thought in episode 1, anyway, some of the acting was a bit dodgy, particularly by that Jedi who's hiding out in the saloon, and it's just a couple of bit actors who are a bit stilted, I think. And I don't know, what did you think?
I mean, the one that really stuck out to me as being the sore thumb was the child acting of the young Princess Leia. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I don't know. It reminded me a lot of episode 1, like the Phantom Menace, with young Anakin and all these little urchin friends on Tatooine, and it sort of took me out of it a bit.
I think, yeah, she did sort of border on that whiny kid acting in episode 1, but I thought that her chemistry with Obi Wan Kenobi in episode 2 was really, really great. Yeah. Overall, I thought episode 2 was a lot stronger than episode 1.
Oh, definitely. I think we spoke briefly about this before, but I think I mentioned it to you that sort of they did us a great favor in releasing 1 and 2 at the same time, because I think 1 was by far the weaker of the 2, and sort of if it was just 1 that was released, it may well have turned a few people off.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. With the acting, like I was surprised. Even Ewan McGregor's acting was a bit stilted in that first episode. So I don't know what the vibe on the set was, or if they were just sort of finding their feet still, if it was, filmed in order. But yeah, episode 1, even he took, I mean, I know he's this like stilted hermit character overall, who's been on his own for 10 years so far, but even I thought he took a bit of time to warm into the role. And
I agree. I mean, I don't know if it was sort of Ewan McGregor acting or whatnot, but I think I've got on my little notes here a few things to there were a bit of a nitpicks on it, but I think whether it was done because they promised 6 episodes or I don't know, but it just seemed like that could have all been like edited down and sort of compact into one episode, what they're trying to get across, that he's sort of being a hermit. I don't know why we had to see him go to work 3 times. I don't know why we had to see him cut a little piece of meat for his space camel or whatever he was riding around on 3 times. All that stuff. Yeah.
I thought the reason why they were showing him going to work over and over again is like for the repetition of his mundane life to kind of, or mundane meaningless life to sort of sink in, and he's found this new purpose to go and rescue Leia. But they didn't do it. They still needed Bail Organa to come and give one last plea for him to actually go off and do it. So yeah, it was a bit weird. If they had combined the plots of the 2 episodes and sort of stretched it out to maybe an hour in length, and because I think the first episode was about 45 minutes of actual runtime, and then the other one was 35 minutes or something. So shave about 15-20 minutes off the whole runtime of those 2 episodes combined. Have a really strong opening episode, and like, okay, have a 5-episode miniseries. I mean, perhaps they do it as 6 so that people who sign up to Disney Plus,
that's what I was thinking. That's 2 months of sign up. If you make it too short, then someone might be able to squeak by with just buying 1 month.
Yeah, as if Disney needs more money.
Yeah, I was to that point, like you're saying, maybe they show it to show his life and how repetitive it is. But you think back to sort of episode 4 in New Hope, and like it comes across that Luke isn't happy living on Tatooine and he wants to go off and do things. But we didn't have to see him working on his moisture farm, his uncle's moisture farm, for 3 times, and him having a sour patch face every time he does it.
What the hell is a moisture farm? Like, well, where did they come up with that? Oh God.
Well, I think there's sort of no water, so you have to, like, I don't know, suck it from the air or something. Isn't that the Tatooine way of making money?
I don't know. Sorry, I derailed you.
Yeah, but that's my point. I mean, it was sort of better filmmaking that led. Okay, he doesn't like living on Tatooine. He's wants to get away and have his hero's journey and do all that. And I think they could have done something similar with Obi-Wan to have him sort of, not having to sort of have him at work, signing out of his thing, cutting his little bit of meat on the skiff ride back to whichever town keeps his little camel at while he's at work. And
well,
it's just like 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, what made it an easy pill to swallow definitely is the show looks gorgeous. Like the special effects are amazing, and just the scope that Deborah Chow, the director of all the episodes, brings to the episodes is really, really great. And they do these really great wide panning shots, especially when he's going to and from on the weird alien camel, and it really drives home the isolation he's feeling, I think. Yeah. You were going to say something?
Yeah. No, that's No, I think it definitely looks like Star Wars, which is good. I think you could be justified if you were afraid that a TV show was not going to look as good as a movie. But I think now sort of we're in the world of Game of Thrones, where each episode has like the budget of a movie, and those type of shows where they've given that the same treatment to this. And it shows it. I mean, it looks good. It doesn't look like a cheap TV knockoff.
Yeah, I was just trying to look up the budget for the show, but it's not on Wikipedia. But it looks like they pumped a whole heap of money into this. Not so much into the choreography, it seems. A couple. I don't know if you picked up on this as well, but I mean, this is another nitpick, because overall I really, really loved the opening 2 episodes, but there were 2 chase scenes: the one in the saloon and the one in the forest where where those bounty hunters are chasing Leia. Like, there's a moment in each of those chase scenes when the person who's being chased is clearly within arm's length of the person chasing them, but the person chasing them at the point where they're approaching them, they just sort of stand awkwardly still and kind of just with their arms, and the person just runs past. I don't know if you noticed that, but that really stood out to me.
The top thing on my list here on comments is, how hard is it to catch a 10-year-old? I mean, one, she's got short little legs. It just reminds me of those infomercials where they're trying to sell you knives, and it's like, when you try to cut a tomato with your old knife, and it's like, it's not cutting. And then it's, the new knife works so well. It's like, oh my God, it's just ridiculous. I mean, talking about cutting the first 2 episodes down and joining them together. And I think sort of there was a whole bunch of sort of I felt wasted time with Obi-Wan and watching him do his mundane thing. And then there was, I feel, a whole bunch of wasted time with Leia, and just her. I think that could have been sort of truncated and done a lot. Like, we see her playing out in the forest, she's run away, and sort of she had her friend dressed up as her to try and trick her mum, and then sort of she goes out to the forest again. And I think you could have just done it with sort of one forest scene, and just truncated that a lot. I felt that was a lot of sort of just repetitive stuff. We could have maybe had the scene with her family, so she's like, I don't know if I belong, and all of that type of thing, and then the bit with Bale, and then going out. But sort of I think definitely
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I think definitely the best moment for Leia in the first episode was speaking with her cousin, and when as you said, the cousin said that you're not a real Organa, and she showed really great vulnerability. But I really like the banter that she has with Kenobi, and I think that really captures the spirit of Carrie Fisher's performance as well. Real good stuff.
I said, some of the, and again, there was the scene where Obi-Wan was trying to catch her as well, where she started like right next to him, and then she runs off in her tiny little legs, and he can't catch her. And it's like, how many conveniently low things are there for her to run under that an adult goes, how can I get past this?
Is she short for a 10-year-old. I thought a 10-year-old would be taller than she is. I mean, I know that's not like defining.
To be honest, I don't know how tall a 10-year-old is. I mean, I look at kids and I have no idea how old they are, but yeah. I don't know. She seems small, but I mean, I suppose some 10-year-olds are that size.
Now, the name of the planet that they're on in episode 2, I think, is Dayu.
That sounds about right.
I thought that was really, really great. It reminded me a lot of I think it was one of the opening scenes of Rogue One. I don't know. I've never seen it once or twice, but I think it's when is it Jay Erso?
Jay Erso, the female protagonist in that movie.
Yeah. I thought that she was evading capture in one of the scenes.
Wasn't it the male one who then betrays his friend and like?
Oh, was it
to get away from the stormtroopers? But it reminds me a lot of that city.
Yeah, and also obviously Blade Runner with all the neon, whatever's neon signs and stuff. I thought that was really great, and I loved Kamal Nanjiani as well, because as soon as he took off his hood, and he just had a smirk on his face the whole time, I loved it. He was having so much fun with this role. But as soon as I saw him, I thought, well, he's obviously a con man, because he had that smirk on his face. You can't really take him seriously as a stoic Jedi. And I loved the fact that he uses magnets as force powers, and he's like going like this, using the force to speak through, to do the Jedi mind trick through a walkie-talkie. Essentially, I thought that was so funny.
I have to agree that it definitely picked up towards the second episode. Started to get into the action.
Yeah, it was a bit of a quick turnaround. I thought, him suddenly moving to help Kenobi. I don't know if there was a look or a moment that I missed while watching it, but I thought that was done a bit abruptly. But I mean, apart from that, it was really good. I liked it.
I think it maybe was a bit quick. I think he was a con man, but it was sort of, he had his heart in the right place. So when sort of he saw an opportunity to do the right thing to help people, he did it. I mean, I don't know what he thought he was doing, sort of acting the Inquisitor, the third sister, to try and how long did he delay? Like all of 10 seconds. I mean, just stay out of the way.
Oh, that is valuable hiding behind crate time. Don't knock those 10 seconds.
Letting 10-year-olds get away and causing you all kinds of angst.
I mean, they only need to be at arm's length before they are just a speck in the distance, it seems, in Star Wars.
Well, I mean, the other thing is he gave away where they were. If he hadn't confronted them, she would have had no idea where to look for them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now we've got 10 minutes left on this video call before it cuts out. So I just want to talk about where the series is going to go, and obviously there's a reveal at the end of the episode that spoiler alert, Anakin Skywalker is alive still.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, because I was wondering throughout episodes 1 and 2 why Reva was so hell-bent on capturing Obi Wan, and I was thinking that maybe he killed her parent or something, but it makes a lot of sense. She's wanting to curry favor with Lord Vader, and this is the golden ticket, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I think this somewhat suffers a bit from the same problem that the prequel suffered with, is we sort of know how it's going to end up, basically. I mean, we know Darth Vader's not going to die in it. We know Obi-Wan's not going to die in it. So it does take some of the magic out of it a little bit. I think there'll still be a few surprises. Like I mentioned to you before, sort of, and you sort of mentioned it right at the start when you were talking about the scene with Order 66 and the Jedi is being killed. Like the very first thing of episode 1 was a recap of stuff that happened in the 3 prequel movies. So we were all caught back up to speed. And one of them was Yoda talking about how to communicate with sort of his old master, or Obi-Wan's old master, Qui-Gon Jinn. And sort of, I wouldn't put him past him for him to make an appearance as a Force ghost in this. I mean, I think in that episode 1 where he wakes up from the nightmare and sort of says, "Oh, master," or something to that effect. He sort of addresses him. Sort of, I think that'll probably happen sort of in an episode, maybe 4 or 5. And Qui-Gon will give him the pep talk he needs for him to overcome his problems and round out the series at the end of episode 6.
Yeah, because obviously the season is going to culminate in a showdown of sorts with him and Anakin, and I don't really know how I feel about the prospect of that just yet. I mean, I just hope it doesn't take away from their fight on Mustafar, and I don't know. I guess we'll just wait and see. But I assume that maybe he just hadn't got his mojo back yet, got his Force mojo back yet, and that's why maybe he was trying to sort of reach through the Force and communicate with Qui-Gon in that moment. But I mean, it even took him a moment to regain the ability to sort of do the Force hold, or use the Force to stop Leia from falling. But we will see where it goes. Nice, solid start. I've got faith that it's going to continue on in a pretty awesome way. But definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I think sort of, I suppose I'd say episode 1 and mainly was a little disappointing, but it sort of picked up from 2. And if it sort of continues this trajectory up, which I think it will, I have a feeling this was probably like, we've got this really sort of awesome ending in play, but we sort of have to contrive a way for us to get to it.
Yeah.
A la the Princess Leia getting kidnapped story. And sort of that will lead to this conflict in sort of episodes 4, 5, and 6 that will hopefully be very rewarding.
Yeah, I am so looking forward to seeing Hayden Christensen back. He will hopefully be given some good material to work with this time, or some better material at least. But all right, that will wrap things up. Thanks very much for joining me this evening, Patrick, before you
it's
head off on your intrepid adventure on Thursday.
Yeah, no, pleasure, anytime.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to have you back to talk about one of the later episodes in the season. And thank you to everyone who is watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. And thanks very much for joining us. See you next time.